Alright guys, welcome back. We are watching Sousou no Frieren, Season 1, Episode 16. Last time, we had an episode mostly focused on Stark. The whole, the dance thing went down. That was very cool, very cool. Frieren and Stark, one day, right? Maybe. Um, just a good episode all around. Explored some interesting parts of, like, Stark's relationship with his father in a way, and then, like, that guy's relationship with Stark in a sense, right? It was very meaningful, I think, for Stark. We also defeated that evil flower in the first part of the episode, with like the cursed village, all that. Just a classic Frieren episode. So I am down for more. I love Signs so much. What he said when he joined the group was that he won't be here for the whole time, and that's gonna make me so sad if he actually leaves. I will be depressed because I love him. It's crazy how he joined this late into the game, and he's this awesome. He's the only adult, you know? And yet he still has progress to make. Anyway, we're watching episode 16. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Who are you? Ooh, fishing. Is that sign? Yeah. With his buddy. Ooh. Hmm. A photo. Yeah, come on, get over here. The one who pulls him into this type of thing. The one who gave him the motivation to for his wish in the first place, to be an adventurer. Makes sense, makes sense. Wonder if he really is out there somewhere, if he's still alive. Man. Well, he's making the steps now to try and find him. Just can't help but wonder how much regret he feels over not having done it sooner. But, regret's a useless emotion. Hmm. It's also interesting, right? Like, I just wonder. Because it's like now he's fulfilling his desire to be an adventurer, right? That's what it really comes back to and all of that, right? So he's traveling around with this new group of people, and it's similar to like the way Frieren ended up connecting with like Himmel and everyone in that group. He's going to find these new meaningful connections with Stark and Frieren and Frieren and everyone, right? Um, so if the point of him being on this adventure is just to find his buddy, then if they part ways someday, just in pursuit of that, it's like he's giving up on these new connections he's formed. So I don't know. I'm curious where that's going to go for him, right? That's kind of what I imagine him looking at them sleeping like that. Hmm. It makes me wish that just the whole group could go on a detour, right, and try and find his pal. But I don't know. I don't know. Of course, I mean it depends on how on earth he's even supposed to track him down. If he's even still alive, right? Evil elf lady. I doubt she's actually evil. I wonder. I wonder what's actually up with her though. Long-lived friends. Episode 16. 29 years after the death of Himmel the hero in the Klar region, located in the northern lands. Ooh, another dwarf, huh? Oh, what is it? Wow. Wonder how old Eisen is. Interesting. I know how long it's been since you've seen him. Exactly, yeah. She looks so excited. Let's not do that. Yeah. It's funny because for Frieren, even that 400 years, that's still barely the past, right? That's less than half of her life. How many shots of Frieren walking across a log over a river have we had? Ooh, what a tree. What a tree. There he is. There he is. Very impressive. Definitely looks a lot older than Eisen. Sure. Who are you? I don't remember you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Come on. It's been so long, he just doesn't even remember. Oh, of course, of course. I said, whoa. Sure, shouldn't have let your guard down, Stark. Come on. Eisen should have taught you that. Ooh. Letting your guard down. Sure, sure. That's, I guess. Stark didn't think you were gonna attack him, though. Yeah, come on. No one else. The others have to wait outside. Only Frieren. This, sure, no. It sounds like a good opportunity. Yeah. Hmm. What a nice looking place. We aren't staying here for a decade. Yeah. Come on. Find me a job I can do for the next decade. Ooh, very nice, very nice. Wonder how hard that is to control it that delicately, that exactly on that many things at once. Or if she's just using the carrot plucking spell, who knows? Sure, sure. No idea he had friends. But nobody knows why. Sit next to that tree, huh? Yeah. I mean, it's been hundreds of years, so the reason why he does it is probably something that's forgotten by people who live here now, you know? That's interesting, how how different this place has to be now compared to when he first started. Man, Frieren is talkative, huh? I feel like we haven't seen Frieren this excited in a while. Wow. Hmm. It sure does. Absolutely, absolutely. Anyone can. Gotta part ways already, huh? Hmm. Oh, really? How so? Why do you? Right, right. That can't be. That can't be right. Yeah, it has to matter. It has to matter to you, even if everyone else is forgotten. A noble reason. Doesn't have to be more than that. So long ago, huh? Hmm. Yeah, oh God, it's been that long, huh? I wonder how meaningful that is to Himmel as well, you know? Yeah. Like shaping Himmel's attitude. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He sure is. Well, we achieved it. We achieved it. She didn't get to see it, sadly, but mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, they'll live for so long, right? Frieren, you'll live on within Frieren's memories. Right, right. They were real. What a responsibility for her. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's unreasonable, of course. She gets something from it, you know? Of course, yeah. So Frieren could learn how to make statues and make more of them in the future, I'm sure. Don't say that. Come on. Of course. Hasn't been that long yet. Wonder if there would be a day, you know? I don't think he's insulting you, right? Okay, okay. Hmm, sure. But, hmm, yeah. And yet you persist anyway. And it's like for Frieren, that reality could come true for her as well someday, right? And it's like the things that she's doing because of Himmel would still be just as meaningful, right? Land where souls rest. At the end. Oh, man. Hmm. Yeah. I wonder what she thinks about that, right? His memory. He doesn't even know. Sure, sure. It is quite a responsibility, quite a weight on her shoulders in a way, you know? Maybe that's just the reality of having such a long life. Oh. Yeah, he was already older than like the average length of a dwarf's lifespan back then, right? I'm sure he'll make it for a while longer. Oh, did you see her face? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's like in a way, Frieren is carrying on the memory of her too. Like just in like a vague sense, you know? Huh. Okay. That was very good. 29 years after the death of Himmel the Hero on Roar Road, located in the Northern Lands. Oh, showing him the yeah, yeah, the locket. Although that's an old picture of him. Like that's secondary. Yeah, come on. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago, that does kind of line up with Himmel and their. No, it doesn't. What am I saying? 10 years ago. No, it doesn't. Himmel died 80 years ago. 29 years ago. The journey was 80 years ago. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. That's not like that long, I guess, right? I believe that. I believe that. Gorilla Warrior. Sure. Like that's his name. Yeah, like his name is Gorilla Warrior. No, that's his name. That's just his name. His name is Gorilla Warrior. That's what his mother named him. Like what? Come on. Yeah, that one's not nearly as good. Come on. Sure, sure. Maybe, maybe. Leaves quite the impression. Kind of reminds you of Himmel in a way, right? Himmel was a little bit weird too. Ooh, what a fancy bridge. Mm-hmm. Ah, nice. The magical city. We're barely there. We got a lot more to go, Fern. Oh, okay, okay. Ooh. Yeah, no, of course they remember Guerrilla Warrior. Exactly, exactly. Wow, wow. So much like Himmel in a way. Okay, okay. Stubborn old woman. Thank you, thank you. Stark, you really aren't getting it, are you? Come on. Okay, okay. We'll just do them instantly with magic, I'm sure. Oh god, that is quite the task. How far away is it? Sure, okay, okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Of course, of course. That's why we always do that. Exactly. You'd be fine. Come on. Just montage of doing all this. You just can't hear him. He's hammering so loudly. Don't drop the apples. Come on. Had to find a flower. It's gonna be a mimic. Whoa! They just seem so unbothered. Stark, like, come on. Good job. Well, yeah. Why would she open up when that would be the end of her free help? With Himmel's good looks, I'm sure he could have charmed her. It's literally. Ooh, okay, okay. Ah, the hero's statue. Wonder if it's Himmel or if it's the gorilla warrior. Ah, okay, okay. Probably them then, I would assume. It was before her time. Oh, maybe not even, yeah. Heroes from before even then, perhaps. Oh, she knows that much. Is that close with him? Makes you think if he even mentioned sign to her, then, I wonder. Ooh. Is that, God, what was his name? Is that the... God, what was the name of that elf that they ran into? Yeah. God, I forget his name. Kraft, that was his name. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right, right. Because he talked about how he was, like, forgotten in a way, right? I don't know how old he is. Oh, he knows Kraft. What kind of connection does he have to them? Oh, they do. I see it. Yeah, yeah. Huh. I suppose that is an interesting goal. The sad reality is, even Himmel will be forgotten someday. Exactly. Yeah, it's unavoidable, you know. But the statue can still exist, you know. You can still have an impact on the world, but you can do your best, right? Maybe. Probably. Oh, okay. He did name himself. Guerrilla Warrior. Okay. What did he call himself before this moment then? Sure. You know what? I guess that works. I guess that works. I don't know if it has the same ring as Himmel the Hero, but Guerrilla Warrior. Why not? Why not? Oh, beautiful. Perfect. Hyter gave him that name. So he was literally named after that guy. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. Man. Ah, I wish he could have met Kraft then, huh? Ah, that sucks. True, true. I'm sure he did his best. Come on. Exactly. Left quite the impact. Man, he had that much confidence in him, even after all that, you know? Ah, it must hurt so much for Sign, you know? Ah, it really must hurt. Did he? Okay. 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 Yeah. Ooh, oh no. Are we splitting up already then? I literally. No, I started the episode talking about this. Oh god, what do we do? What should he do? I really don't know. I don't know if there's a correct answer, right? Um, oh, I really don't know. I really don't know. Oh god, I don't know. I should save it for the discussion to talk about it. I shouldn't talk about it here. I don't want Sign to leave, but I would understand if he does. And I'd also understand if he doesn't. I don't really know if there's like a correct answer he should make, like emotionally, you know. I could understand either decision to stay with Frieren in the group or not, right? Because I don't really think it's like, you know, desperately trying to hold on to the past or anything to go after Guerrilla Warrior. What a fucking name, huh? Um, I think it would make sense if he wanted to go after him, right? And I think it would also make complete sense if he decides to stay with Frieren and the group, right? Either way would be him fulfilling his wish and his desire in a way, you know? I just wish the whole group could go with him. But maybe that's just unrealistic, you know? To go try and find Guerrilla Warrior. I just don't know if that's possible. I don't know if we're gonna do that. I don't know how long of a detour it is. No spoilers. Okay, we will talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. This was a good one, yet again, as always. When is it not, right? I feel like I start every discussion with saying that. I just can't help it. It was a good one. What more do you want from me? So the real question after this episode is, what is Sign going to do? Is he going to leave? Is he going to chase after Gorilla Warrior? Or is he going to stay with Frieren and Fern and Stark, the group, right? I'm of two minds on this question. I really can't decide what I think. I feel like either way I would understand, right? I guess if I'm really thinking about where I imagine the author is going with this, I think he is going to split up. I think he is going to leave, and I think he is going to chase after his friend, try and find Gorilla Warrior, right? I think that just like makes sense, right? I think that is what he's going to do. And like the reason why I imagine either decision is like fine is the reason why this connection with Guerrilla Warrior is so meaningful is like, obviously they had this friendship that meant a lot for him, right? Like it was like his relationship with Guerrilla Warrior is what pushed him to becoming an adventurer and having that wish, that desire in the first place, right? Like the opening scene here with Guerrilla Warrior taking his hand, pulling him along like this, right? I think that's probably pretty representative of their relationship in general, right? He made him like open up and made him, open to this idea of being an adventurer, that kind of thing. So him deciding to go after him and choosing him makes a lot of sense, right? At the same time, of course, Frieren and Fern and Stark and all of that, I think his relationship with them is also very meaningful now, right? Like, through the relationship he has with them now, he is still pursuing this dream, being an adventurer, doing all of that, right? With them as well, and that's not any less meaningful, really, right? But at the same time, it's like, in a way, the general theme of this story has always been, like, reconciling with the past and, like, just stuff in that vein. So therefore, I don't think he's going to stick with Frieren and everyone. I think he's going to go after Guerrilla Warrior. We're going to split up. So sad. I mean, when he first joined the party, that's what he said, right? He said he wasn't coming with us all the way. We knew he was going to split up one day. It's just very sad that it's going to happen this soon, because I really loved Sign, right? He is the only adult in the party in a lot of ways, right? But maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we need him to be gone, in a sense, right? Obviously, he's not entirely put together. He's not like a perfect person, for sure, right? But perhaps the role that he plays in the party, maybe he's too good for them, in a sense, you know what I mean? Maybe it makes more sense for them to split up, right? It's going to be very sad. It's going to be very sad that we aren't going to have Sign anymore, but I think it makes sense, right? And I guess, like, the important thing is, too, right? He's agonizing over the decision in a way, right? It's very hard for him to decide, because I think he recognizes how meaningful his connection with all of these, his new party here is now, right? He doesn't want to leave them. He doesn't want to, like, feel like he's giving up on them just to chase the past, right? But I just feel like you just don't have to view it in that way, right? It's like, for him, the past is something that is, like, kind of unresolved for him. All of this stuff with Guerrilla Warrior, all of that, And there's nothing wrong with him trying to get some kind of closure, some kind of, like, going back to that and, like, understanding it and developing all of that more, That's what Frieren is doing with, like, going through all of these villages that Himmel was in. She's reassessing and understanding her own past and all of those events better, right? And I think through him going after Guerrilla Warrior and going to hopefully go meet him, hopefully he's not dead, that will kind of be like the same for him, right? It's kind of just like what Frieren is doing on her journey, So yeah, I think that's the decision he's going to make. I think either decision he could make would be, like, good. I understand why it's hard for him. It's going to be hard for me. It's going to be really sad not having Sign anymore, because I'm positive that's the direction we're going in. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I get it. I understand, right? Like, the more I've thought about it, the more I just think that's the only way it can go, I feel like it would be contrary to, like, what Frieren has been doing and the message of the story in a way. Because it's not that he's being, like, it's not that he's like stuck in the past or anything, you know, it's just this reconciliation and this understanding of his past, right? Wanting closure with it, right? The same thing that Frieren's doing. And that's what he's gonna do. So yeah, let's go through the episode more specifically now. Opening scene here. I guess we already kind of talked about it, right? Guerrilla Warrior, they want to take a photo. I didn't realize they even had photos, honestly, in this universe. Have we seen photos? We've seen, like, paintings. But yeah, like, this opening scene, I feel like it's pretty emblematic of their relationship, I imagine. This way he, you know, he pulls him to go do stuff, right? He's the one who has him open up, you know? And it makes sense, because he's the genesis of Sign's motivation to be an adventurer and all of that, you know, at the start of their legend. Exactly. Looking at the locket that he has of them. That's so sad he carries that around still, you know? Like, it's just, you have to think from his perspective. I wonder how much he regrets not doing this sooner, you know? Because it's actually so tragic. Just, I mean, again, we've talked about it so many times, but his attitude with his brother staying in the village that whole time, how it came from such a good place. You just have to think now, like, he must regret it so much, you know? Being stuck like that for so long, not willing to chase what he wanted, you know? Especially because as time went on, longer and longer, he used that as a reason for why he shouldn't even bother now. It's been 10 years, right? Surely Guerrilla Warrior must be dead now, you know? If he isn't, that would really suck. Looks at them, yeah, I think he has this understanding that, like, his relationship with them is also so meaningful now, that it's just, I don't know, it's hard, right? It's very hard. It makes me wonder, like, I don't know. It makes you think if Frieren herself will face something like that, you know, like, because Frieren is always faced with these. Her past is something she can't really chase after anymore because everyone's dead, right? They're all gone, unfortunately. But it just makes you wonder, like, if there will be some day where Frieren faces some kind of choice, some kind of opportunity, something that pits her relationship with Fern and Stark at odds with her relationships with her old party, you know. I'm not sure what shape that would take, you know, but I don't know. It just makes you think, because that's what he's kind of facing here in a way, right? Although I think that's kind of a wrong way to look at it, right? Because it's not really at odds with anything, you know? His relationship with Frieren and Frieren and Stark is just as meaningful still. It's not like him deciding to go after Guerrilla Warrior and pursue this reconciliation with his past makes his relationship with them any less meaningful, right? I mean, hey, I'm sure we'll see Sign again someday, even if he breaks up with the party, you know what I mean? I'm sure we will, right? That's another, like, theme in the story, is Frieren meeting up with all these people from 400 years ago. You know what I mean? So we're walking up to this village. What is it called again? In the Claw region. I guess we don't really get a name of the village, do we? But he's a dwarf who's been protecting the village for almost 400 years, which is crazy. Life expectancy of a dwarf is only 300. Old Man Vol, he's a long-lived friend of mine. And Frieren really enjoys talking to him so much, you know? She really, I don't know, she says that it's because of him that she, like, you know, the whole memory thing. The conversation they have about Frieren being the one to hold on to the memories of her friends once they're gone, you know? That's why she has, like, this connection with Vol, which I think it makes sense, because, of course, she has this very unique perspective on relationship and, like, memories like that, because she has this crazy long life, you know? It's hard to relate to it, because humans don't really have that problem, right? Most people don't have to worry about every person they ever meet dying and all of that, you know what I mean? You still have to worry about some people dying. You're still going to face loss in your life. Just not to the same degree as Frieren, right? So her having, like, having this friendship with him makes sense, because he's someone who can actually understand that, right? Very personally, he understands it very, very explicitly, right? Because his motivation is so similar to hers, having this relationship in the past with his wife that was so meaningful to him, just like her with Himmel, you know? I don't know what Stark thinks, you know, it's a dwarf, you know? We don't really get a connection between Vol and Eisen that much, but still. True, there aren't that many people who can talk about the past with you. Exactly. She's so happy. Maybe I'll stay for a decade or so. I don't know about that. We get the 5th shot, maybe, of Frieren walking across a log on a river. How many times have we got a shot of Frieren walking across a log. Like this is literally like the fourth or fifth one. It's crazy. It's a man. It's happened so many times. Very nice to see Frieren and Stark so close with each other, huh? She's opening up. Very, very crazy tree. This tree is so cool. I wonder if like are there any trees that like look like that in real life, you know? And it kind of looks like like there's trees that kind of look like this, like the leaves that like drape down like this. I've never seen one like turns yellow like this though. They're always like kind of green or kind of like brown, you know? Like so cool. It's so big, so fancy. And there he is. There's Vol. Despite his old age, he's still kicking. Doesn't he seem like an old, seasoned warrior? I suppose, I guess. It's almost like Frieren is trying to, make him see how cool it is to be so old like her. Remind me, who are you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. The sad thing is, he's not really pretending, right? We know later. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this. The idea that he doesn't even recognize the fact that the Demon King has been defeated already, right? I wonder what to make of that exactly, you know? Because I don't want to say it's like somehow representative of him being like stuck in the past, because it certainly isn't, you know? I don't know. I wonder what Frieren gets out of that, you know what I mean? Hmm. I guess the only connection I can make to that, of course, is the idea that the actual goal of their adventure, being this defeating the Demon King thing, was never the truly important part of it, like emotionally, obviously, for Frieren and for all of them, right? The truly important thing that has left this impact on Frieren's life is the emotions, the emotional connection, right? That's why she cares so much about Vol too, is this connection she has with him on that same line, you know? So him not even knowing that their journey's over, and that they already defeated the Demon King, maybe that makes sense, you know? Because that was never really the important part, in a way, right? And he kills Stark. That wasn't really very fair. Like, Stark didn't think you were gonna attack him. Like, how is he supposed to know? Like, come on. The greatest weakness of both demons and people. Even the most experienced warriors can easily suffer fatal injuries. I wonder if he chooses to attack Stark because just like Aizen, he can just tell how strong Stark is, you know? He wanted to test him, you know? If they're not attempting to defend themselves. Exactly. That wasn't a very fair test at all. Hmm. He can't walk. Unfortunate. He has to train now. Has to do some training. We get some good training montages. We wanted to stay for a decade, but we can't. Unlucky. Unlucky. We pluck some carrots. I really wonder if this is a specific carrot plucking spell. Or, because like this looks like it would be so hard to do. However magic works, it has to be so hard to focus on like 20 different individual things at once and perfectly pluck them up out of the ground, you know? Fern is impressive, huh? She's got some good control. Why is he even holding it? I guess. Just leave it on the ground. Hmm. Never seen him converse so happily before. Didn't even know he had friends. He's a senile old man. He's protected the village from monsters and demons for years, but nobody knows why. So we kind of connect all of this thing about him having this reason for protecting the village that nobody even understands. We connect that kind of to like the same thing that like it was many episodes ago now, but like what Himmel said to Frieren, right? The idea that they're real and that all of this that it'd be so easy for one day Frieren to not even really remember them anymore, right? For them to be just think of them as just far off legends, that it would be so hard for her to keep them in her mind and think of them as people who actually personally impacted her life so much, And it's interesting because what we explore here with Vol is essentially that kind of has happened to him, right? His memories of his wife, like interpersonally, are essentially gone. He doesn't remember her face, he doesn't remember her voice. All he remembers is the impact that she had on him, right? That's all he knows, is that she was very important to him, right? And essentially that's enough, right? Just the fact that he's forgotten doesn't really matter. She still has had this positive influence on his life, and she still like shapes his actions in this way, right? Through the influence she has had on him, she still lives on in a way, right? And one day, as sad as it is, that's kind of what it would be like for Himmel, too. Not only just in Frieren's mind, but like in the world at large, right? Like what Himmel did for the world, killing the Demon King and establishing an era of peace, all of that, that is something that forever will have a meaningful impact on the world, right? Even if he is forgotten someday, just like Kraft and that other warrior that whose name is truly forgotten, apparently, the priest, I guess. Um, Whatever they did, they're remembered as heroes in that village at the very least, right? People don't even remember their names, but whatever impact they had on the world still matters. So I don't know. It's a sad thing to think about, that's for sure, right? Obviously, the Vol, him not remembering his wife, it's deeply, deeply sad. But at the same time, it's endearing in a way. It's interesting to think about. Hmm. Another reason it's interesting to think about is everyone has something like this in a way, right? Probably not something as impactful. Um, but I think everyone has friendships and relationships with people that they don't actively think about or that they've like forgotten for the most part, that like maybe if they were reminded about it, they would remember. But they, like a friendship with some random friend that they had in elementary school or something, right? That maybe did deeply impact your life in some positive way. And you just don't even remember it. But it's like the impact of it is still there, right? I don't know. It's like living on through that sense, not even having to live on through direct memories of people, but just through the impact that you have on people around you. Stark, Stark is really having his training cut out for him, huh? He's so tired. I mean, he gets to eat an entire chicken apparently. So like, come on, dig in, buddy. Frieren loves talking to Vol, huh? Man, she's so happy. Picking some mushrooms, of course, of course. Killing a giant bear. Very nice, very nice. A week flies by. Oh, it sure does. It sure does. How is Stark? Humans develop quickly. They sure do. They sure do. Anyone develops quickly. Anyone can change. It's never too late. It's never too late might as well be the motto of this story, right? It's never too late. If it's not too late for Frieren, it's not too late for Vol. It's never too late. He's improved a fair bit. Been really grateful. I'm really grateful to you now. You're the reason I got to know Himmel and the others. And it's interesting she says that. It's interesting she says it's because of him. Because I disagree in a way. I disagree that it's purely because of him. It's certainly because of Frieren herself, for the most part, right? Maybe that's hard to recognize, right? It's hard for her to say it's her own decisions and her own changing view of things that made her, like, have a different attitude about Himmel and the others. Because she herself, looking back on it, understands that her mentality only changed because of people around her, right? But it's like you have to be willing to let other people change you. You have to be willing to accept that change, right? That's kind of how it works for like anyone, right? People are always changed by people around them, right? Or like stories they read or anything, right? Experiences they have in general. So it's like I disagree in a way, of course, that Vol is the one who, is the only reason she got to know Himmel and the others. But I understand, of course, this impact he had on her is very significant, right? I guess it's just, you could just say it's like equal. It's like you yourself being able to change and being willing to change is equal as an effect to the people who actually affect that change onto you. You know what I mean? Old man Vol, why do you defend this village? It's ancient history now. People don't even remember it. People don't risk their lives for things that don't matter. I wonder how much Vol's attitude impacted Himmel himself as well. Because it does seem similar to the way that Himmel kind of views life, right? Like, if this conversation happened before him, like, him telling Frieren the thing, like, oh, we really existed, all of that. I just wonder how much that actually shaped Himmel's mindset about things. Because Vol must be such an inspiration in a way. I'm just defending the village my wife loved. She was a human. I'm merely keeping the promise I made long ago. Can't even remember her face. So sad. I won't say more on the subject. I couldn't adequately describe her face or voice or eyes. This is my memory alone. It's silly, isn't it? I've been keeping a promise I made to a dead woman. It's not silly. It's not silly at all, right? That's what Frieren's doing. Just because they're dead doesn't mean anything, right? The impact they've had on you still exists. Sure, she's glad you're keeping your promise. Exactly. Exactly. My wife wished to see the era of peace that comes after the defeat of the Demon King. I'll carry the memory of the great hero Himmel into the future. But Himmel doesn't need it. He's got Frieren and Eisen. Exactly. It'll be Frieren's job, which again, it's like, it kind of is a lot of responsibility. It kind of really is, right? That Frieren has to be the one to carry this memory for all of them for so long, you know? Um, she can do it, of course, right? I don't think that's like overwhelming responsibility, overwhelming weight on her shoulders or anything, you know? It is interesting, right? In a sense, it's like the relationships that she has in that way are actually like more emotionally meaningful and have more depth in that sense, like more weight on her than they would for like people with a normal lifespan, you know? And I assume that's of course that's part of why she did become so emotionally withdrawn with time, you know? Because it's just that accepting that weight on your shoulders is like hard, you know? Later, I'll have to show you the collection of handsome poses I came up with. Of course, of course. I probably didn't need that collection of handsome poses after all. Exactly. You'll remember him anyway. Do you remember that hero's face? Of course I do. And his voice? And Frieren, yeah, she feels insulted by it, you know? Himmel's the reason I decided to get to know people. Like your reason for defending this village, it's important to me. And it is, but there will be someday where all heroes are forgotten, right? For you, this memory of Himmel will become a far off thing that was way back in your life, right? We don't know how long elves live, I suppose, right? Frieren physically seems to be very young still, right? Like quite young, early 20s maybe, who knows, right? So if it's like physical aging still happens in that way for elves, she could live for another like 10,000 years or something, you know? So in a long time from now, Himmel won't always be the most important thing in your entire life, you know? It won't always be like this, right? That doesn't mean it's less important to you, of course, right? But it's just one day, it could be like this, you know? That won't mean that Himmel won't have had the significant impact on you, you know? But I don't know. It's interesting coming from him because he has had this happen, right? Where he has forgotten his wife's face, this person who he says has had this crazy impact on him, who is the reason for doing everything he does, you know? Not her face, not her voice, nothing. Not her eyes, yeah. But I continue defending this village for an important something. That's interesting, right? Because I guess the point of it is, in a way, is it's like the effect, the thing that Himmel did to you. That's a weird way to phrase it. The effect Himmel had on Frieren is like the really important thing to like going into the future. You know what I mean? Like for her, right? Like the impact that the relationship she had with him is, you know? Because obviously Himmel's dead, right? So tying it all just to Himmel is kind of dangerous because like there will be one day, or there very well could be one day, where you can't remember him anymore, sadly, just like this guy, you know? But it's the effect he's had on you that really matters, right? Headed to Oriole, the land where souls rest. Finally off to defeat the Demon King. Yeah, he doesn't even remember. Doesn't even know. The Demon King is... But that's not really the important part, right? Exactly. I'll carry your memory into the future, too. I suppose. That's a much better way to look at it, right? That is a much better way to look at it than the very sad state she was in at the end of episode 1, right? So, yeah, she can do it. She can do it. She can handle it. Glad I got to see you at the end of my life. You said the same thing 80 years ago. Yeah. It's similar to like what Himmel was saying at the end of episode 1, right? When they went to go see the meteor shower. Yeah. Well, see you, old man Vol. I wonder if we'll see him again. I wonder if we'll see him yet again. He'll live to 500, maybe. Maybe it's because you and I reminisced about the past. He dreamed about his wife. Yeah. Huh. And off they go. To another settlement. Well, kind of. Not yet. We're just on a road. Looking for Guerrilla Warrior, which is indeed quite the name. The goal of his journey, to reunite with his friend who departed 10 years ago. Absolutely. So the photos in this world are these magical... Yeah, they're like... That's why it has like the weird like shine in the thing, you know? It's because I guess it's this magical process, you know? There aren't literal cameras in the universe. Hmm. People remember him even after 10 years. Because 10 years isn't like that long, right? I'm sure, you know, a lot of people are still going to be living in the same house at the same place 10 years later. You know what I mean? So, especially they're going to remember Gorilla Warrior, right? He was very similar to Himmel in a lot of ways, you know. That really strengthens obviously the similarities between Frieren and Sign in that way, and like them deciding to do these things because of this person who had this significant impact on them, right? For both of them, it was someone very similar, right? Himmel and Gorilla Warrior, you know, made such an impact. They were such heroes, you know. It's good enough if they recognize the name Gorilla Warrior. I don't know, Himmel the hero, Gorilla Warrior. I feel like that's kind of a I like they're both good. I feel like Himmel the hero might be like better long term, you know? That really has a ring to it that I'm just not sure if Gorilla Warrior has, right? Like in the textbooks when people are learning about heroes in school, you know? Are they really going to be remembering Gorilla Warrior? No, I guess they will. I guess they really will. Maybe Gorilla Warrior is just better. Maybe that's just a better name than Himmel the hero. Who's a weird guy, just like Himmel, right? Like, man, very fancy bridge. Must have taken a lot of construction, huh? So we're almost to the magical city. It's been a long journey. Yeah, kinda. We're getting there, I guess. We've arrived at a city. Asking about Gorilla Warrior, and we gotta go ask the stubborn old lady. Mr. Gorilla. Stubborn old woman. My bad, my bad. She is a stubborn old woman. Naturally, we have to do a whole bunch of stuff for her. Of course, of course. Just like Himmel. Just like Himmel would have. Exactly. They would always get chased by things. Stark has to scream in this guy's ear because he just starts hammering more and more violently. Like you know, as Stark tries to talk to him. Very funny, very funny. Do a whole bunch of stuff. Our final task will be to go wash off the hero statues, the forgotten heroes, right? I guess the question is, are they even truly forgotten if they still have these statues, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting question, right? The impact they've had is clearly still important, because they're still remembered through these statues, you know? And one of them is Kraft, who he had this kind of morose attitude, this idea of being forgotten himself in that episode we met him in, you know? Which, yeah, I suppose he was, right? Very, very interesting. Very interesting. He was a monk, really, not a warrior, right? And it's who Guerrilla Warrior and Sign got their fancy hero names from. Would not have guessed that. That's for sure. But they are similar. I see it, of course, right? And Heiter gave him the name Goatee Priest, even. According to the chief, they're ancient heroes, but nobody even remembers their names. Someday, Himmel will be like this too. There will be nothing but statues, you know? I refuse to be forgotten. I'm going to become an unforgettable hero like Himmel. But even Himmel, and even you, one day, even with the name Guerrilla Warrior, will be forgotten, right? But that's okay, you know? That's okay. I think it's kind of in the same vein as this idea of fear of things like ending, right? Kind of the reason why Frieren's like attitude about relationships is the way it is, right? She's afraid of relationships ending because they always end for her because she lives longer than everyone, you know? I think that's in the same vein as this idea of wanting to be, you know, unforgettable forever, right? Everything ends someday, you know? And you need to be able to reconcile with that and come to peace with that, you know? Hmm. Guerrilla Warrior. That's my name. If I want to become an unforgettable hero, then I need a memorable name, and I guess that works. I will never forget Guerrilla Warrior, right? Guerrilla Warrior and Goatee Priest. And he fits the image now, that's for sure. Hmm. Two of you would become heroes whose names would be remembered forever. It's sad that even after them parting ways like this, that he's still, you know, I guess that's even more reason for him to go after him, right? Is even after all that time, he still had faith that they would meet up and become unforgettable heroes together like that, right? It's something that he doesn't have to miss out on, right? He doesn't have to experience that same kind of regret that Frieren felt about Himmel, you know, he can still do it, you know. So of course, he has to chase it, you know. He has to. Hmm. Long way to the east. Yeah, opposite direction. I think he's going to do it. And I think that it really is the correct decision to make. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about that at the start, right? So don't want to rehash all of that. So yeah, I guess that was it. That was episode 16 of Frieren. Man, this show, you can see why it's number one, huh? Why it's so good. Why people love it so much. We are getting there. We are getting there. I can't wait. I'm sorry. We have so much left still. You know, we got like another 12 episodes or something left. And then we got season 2. So like, man, we got a whole bunch of Frieren to go. I'm so lucky I'm not going to have to wait for season 2, you know? Oh, I don't have to wait at all. It is going to be great. Anyway, I guess that's it. So please, if you enjoy my videos, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.